Well, Charles, it's that time again. The cesium fountain clock is ringing 8 p.m. Well, 8 a.m. in Penang, I guess. How are you tonight, Charles, this morning?
Well, I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. The new clothes program has got me into this new shirt
Oh,
and
yeah,
hat,
look at that nice jacket.
uh, new jacket, and all is good. The new clock we'll see whether you hear it every 15 minutes. Is in the other room there, and my bookbinder did a fantastic video. I sent it to you. I don't know if you saw it yet,
I
but
did.
I mean, he's really talented. I mean, just if you look at what he has done with these various books, it's really something.
Well, I'm glad to hear you're having a good day. Not such a good day for Lindsey Graham. Turns out he's dead.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was interesting. I don't think I've really given more than a capsule summary of the only time I met him. He There was another person who used to be the State Department spokesperson, woman, who came to give a small talk. I think there may have been 15 total guests or less in a conference room in some office in Park Avenue in New York. And he shows up at like 6 p.m. on a weeknight, drunk with this woman. Um, and she was the person who was going to give the talk. But at the conclusion of her remarks, she said, I'd like to ask Lindsey Graham to give a few comments and take questions. So, and I was wearing a hat that said, but her emails. And before this all started, he said, "What's with the hat?" And I said, "What's with the fact that you won't look into Hillary Clinton and what really happened with the Clinton Foundation?" He like moved away,
Oh, he
but
did?
he sat right opposite me.
Wait a minute.
And
He
I was
didn't
like,
answer that question. He was
no,
just,
just
huh,
laughed it off.
several
And he was,
sheets to the wind.
jovial drunk politician mode. But he did answer questions and talked about a bunch of issues. And as John McCain was his butt buddy was fond of saying at the end of remarks, he closed his remarks with nobody asking the question, saying "bomb, bomb, bomb Iran."
I mean,
And it
this
was
is a boozy guy right
right.
here. I am
Yeah,
personally not surprised that someone out of shape in their 70s, drunk during the day, would have a cardiac event that, you know, I don't know. A lot of people are speculating that he was poisoned by Russia and Iran. Laura Loomer is going crazy that somebody released a Lego animation where they're checking off her name or something. I don't know if she's going to get assassinated by Legos. I hope not. But I think Lindsey Graham, it's not that outrageous to me that he just had a cardiac event at home and died.
right. And he was obviously, in my mind, a captured politician, captured by the swamp. He lived, I think, who was he living with? I mean, who in his house released the statement after he died?
I
Right? I
don't
mean,
know.
as far as I know,
They
he's
must have
single.
said, right?
It just had
Actually,
a,
he'll have a double, Charles.
yeah.
But
But
anyway,
yeah. I mean, in DC, there are myriad lobbyists. I mean, there are many more lobbyist firms than there are politicians. And there's always a dinner and lunch invitation. There's always a country club invitation to do whatever you want. And I'm sure the guy was taking up all those invitations in South Carolina, back in DC, in the Metro DC area. He's been doing it for what, 30 years? And lifestyle caught up with him.
I think that's right. I mean, listen, it's certainly possible that somebody did something to him, but now, so we have ambulance drivers in on this. We have the local EMTs, the US government. If he were killed in Ukraine or whatever it is that some people are alleging, why wouldn't that be immediately, you know, discussed? I don't know. The bigger issue, really, I mean, no disrespect, even though I guess I've been pretty disrespectful to him so far. The issue is the war in Iran is back raging, bombing ships in the Strait of Hormuz. What's the latest there, Charles?
Well, there's a problem in that general region. You remember when in the Saddam Hussein first war, there was Baghdad Bob, that spokesperson, for Saddam Hussein. There are no troops in Baghdad, and behind him you see these tanks rolling towards his office. Um, I cannot understand the dissonance between what we're saying. Trump saying, well, we sunk their Navy and their Air Force, and we bombed this, and we got rid of their nuclear stuff. And Iran saying, the Straits of Hormuz are closed. Our response to the ultimatum, the Saturday midnight deadline, and I'm not sure what time that was, but our response is the Straits are closed. Death to my father's killers. Death to Israel. Death to America. We'll avenge this. I mean, there's a major league disconnect here, right? Either either Iran is stronger than we think, um, or its government is run by a bunch of mental patients, right? And if it's stronger than we think, then what have we been doing? What has our great military been doing? So, this needs to be settled. And I know Trump says, World War One took X years and World War II took Y years. No one, as far as I know, has declared that this is World War III.
I
This
thought it
is
was
one,
11. This is going to be
or
World War
11. Yeah,
12.
she's not so good with math, I guess. Math is not a Somali thing. It hasn't gotten to Somalia yet. But
This would be
so
World
what's
War 111, according to her.
yeah, I mean, God, she speaks major league moron, that lady. But what's going on here, and the risk. I mean, as happened in Vietnam, uh, Lyndon Johnson got way too involved in the particulars of the war, and that led to a situation. And it was a dreadful conflict. Actually, I was terrified. I had to register for the draft. The last thing I wanted to do was leave the jungle of Manhattan for the jungle of Vietnam and not even be able to see your enemy. But what in the fuck is really going on with this? Why don't we have, first of all, why are the Europeans so unhelpful? Is a polite way of putting it. I mean, Germany has long dealt with the Iranian government. Long, there's various corrupt companies from Siemens on down have sold into Iran against the better interests, I think, of their own people and of the United States. And there are other countries that have been making money with Iran in violation of the sanctions. These are countries that we support uh, with money and troops and our military history via NATO. What the hell? Why is it so difficult for either we're wrong, and I don't think we are, or many of these politicians around the world have been corrupted by the mullahs. And it's not difficult to imagine that because my people who know something about Iran have told me, and I'm inclined to believe it, that the mullahs and the top people in the IRGC get a cut of the Iranian economy. Some say it's as much as 10 to 15% of their GDP and that would not be a surprising number to me. So these people have locked down that country. They executed 35,000, by some accounts, protesters earlier this year. It's crystal clear that they have enough control now to intimidate the local population. I mean, where are the uprisings? And why can't we make progress here? And what the hell is going on?
I
Yeah,
certainly don't know.
yeah,
Siemens, according to Iran, helped them execute the Stuxnet cyber attack. Do you remember that, Charles?
I do. I do. And so what is so challenging here? Right? Why haven't we seen the son, Khamenei the son? He wasn't at the funeral. Who's really running this country? It's like, this is Joe Biden's auto pen running the country? What is going on?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. What has Trump said on Truth Social? Let's have a look.
Well, yeah, let's do look. But I mean, he went on Meet the Press and he said that, we continue to bomb the country. I think he said there a further 140 targets were taken out. I mean, how many targets are left at this point?
Democratic socialism must be criminalized and leaders deported. He's posting on Truth
Well,
Social.
actually, when you look at their platform is anti-constitutional,
Yeah.
right? And there are various IRS memoranda that explain that non-for-profits cannot engage in any type of criminal activity. To fund violent protests across the country that are calling for installing a new government that would eliminate the presidency and eliminate the judiciary without a constitutional amendment is ridiculous, right? I mean, on the face of it, it's just you can't do that. If you want to eliminate the presidency and make the president subservient to the House of Representatives, you would have to try to do that by amending the Constitution. I don't think there's any way you could amend the Constitution to do that. And a constitutional amendment is much more complicated than a simple presidential election. And they're talking about eliminating, as I say, the presidency and the judiciary.
Who is bringing that up? The new Democratic
The,
Socialists in
the,
Congress?
no, they have a website, I think, and the platform is somebody put it out on X. And maybe it's all what I saw is all bullshit, but I saw a posting that laid out the points of their platform, and they're pie in the sky bullshit. It's the kind of shit you'd see in the faculty lounge at Reed College in Oregon.
They're blasting Mamdani's advisor for elevating Graham Plattner.
Yeah, this Max somebody,
Morris Katz.
Morris Katz, yeah,
Yeah.
Mo Katz.
Yeah.
Yeah, again, these are all this is the fringe element of life.
26, this Katz guy is. Oh, whoever knew of a 26-year-old to make a poor judgment call? That's surprising.
And who is really, is this guy Katz really by himself the
Yeah.
engine of,
Right.
I don't believe that.
I don't
In
either.
the same way that Scam Bankman-Fried didn't act alone.
Political strategist. I don't know.
He's a moron.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
But
know,
Mamdani is getting also, everyone's getting blasted, Charles. You got Robert Davey blasting Mamdani for his comments about Little Italy.
well, as he should be. With all due respect to the great country of Yemen, I mean, it's in the Shithola category.
Did he put Little Yemen on the
Yeah.
catalog?
You know,
Everyone comes to visit New York to have a meal in Little Yemen, Charles. I mean, that's everybody knows that.
Yeah, I had a friend, an acquaintance who had three daughters, and one of them, and across the street from where she lived in the far west side in the 50s, there was a delicatessen owned by Yemeni family. And so one of her daughters started dating, one of the kids in that delicatessen. And I never get involved. I just make it a rule that if you're seeing somebody and that person has children, you just cannot get involved trying to pretend you're the father of these kids. But anyway, this woman said, "What do you think of my daughter dating this guy from Yemen?" And I said, "It's fucking suicide. Are you out of your mind?" you know. And then she
How did
said,
that go over?
weeks later, she said, "My daughter is thinking of moving to Yemen
Oh,
with
that's
her
an excellent
boyfriend." And I said,
idea.
"Really? Does she? How many hijabs does she have?"
That's
I mean,
great.
fortunately they broke up, but I mean, it's a different, a major difference. And I know this is the case of my own German ancestors and my mother who emigrated from Portugal. You know, these two branches of my family made a decision when they came to America to forget about their ancestry and just say, we've come to America to be an American family, and we are going to embrace America and what it stands for. That's the old form of immigration that actually did make this country wonderful. The idea that you're going to come to America to sponge off the system, to be a champion fraudster, to say to your constituents, as Elon Moron Omar has said, we are Somalis. My interests are, to promote the interests of the Somali people above all else. fuck you, bitch. Go on home.
You know what I'm just reading right here, Charles, on this Grub Street tour of Little Yemen, which appears to be like a delicatessen and a halal, whatever. It's like four buildings or something. But it's saying that in 2014, after the Arab Spring failed, that's when all these Yemeni people moved to the Bronx. And I'm reminded that Adam Sharp had that segment on CNBC at the moment that Jack Dorsey was testifying in front of the Senate about what the hell was going on with Twitter and Joe Biden's laptop and the whole Hunter Biden's laptop and kicking Trump off. And Jack Dorsey was like, oh, yeah, that was a mistake. That was October 28th, 2020. And the election was like a week later. So they were in the midst of their plan. And so Adam Sharp, who was the CEO of the Emmys at the time, goes on the news to talk about Twitter. Adam Sharp is I hope he's watching because he's a motherfucker. And in my opinion, he is a despicable CIA operative. What he said in that interview was that we don't want to restrict the free flow of information on platforms like Twitter because when information like the Arab Spring spreads and the Black Lives Matter movement spreads, we like that. But when people like Jason and Charles say things, we got to kick that off of there. So he's basically coming out and saying that when we can use these social media platforms as levers to socially engineer society, that's what we want. And the Arab Spring, I mean, he is a traitor to American society, infiltrating our country with these subversive elements that are destroying neighborhoods, destroying the way of life in the United States. And they openly say they want to take over.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about Black Lives Matter, I mean, we were very early to blast, because that's the thing we do today. Everyone's blasting things, to blast the idea that big corporations or anybody should donate to these fictitious organizations that didn't exist. You know, the nadir of the frenzy for BLM, you had corporations like J.P. Morgan boasting that they had made multi-year billion-dollar commitments to BLM, and then that didn't exist, right? And as for the Arab Spring and fomenting revolutions around the world, why is that our foreign policy? I mean, that's ridiculous. We are not, in terms of population, the biggest country on earth. You know, if it's okay for us to do this, then why isn't it okay for China to send fentanyl across our country to turn, our already propagandized low IQ, low attention span youth into fentanyl addicts, and to prod this Morris Katz and people like him to say, yeah, our solution here is forget the laws and the Constitution. They don't matter. They were signed by old white men who owned slaves, some of them. This Constitution, the law of the land, we don't have to, abide by that anymore. We're just going to tear it up and do something new. Fuck all of you. That is not what I signed up for. It's not the way I live my life. I don't need some 26-year-old radical bringing in, Yemeni delicatessen owners to burn cars and foment a revolution because, that's worked so well in Yemen and Somalia.
Yeah. But that's what they're doing. It's happening right before our eyes.
Yeah. I mean, in 50 years ago, 49 years ago, I went from Nairobi in Kenya back to London on Sudan Airways. And, we landed at Khartoum airport. And back then there was, you would land a plane and there was, they'd wheel out eventually, stairs so you could get off the plane. There was nothing there. Right. I mean, and at least back then in 1977, New York City was very much a real thing. We don't need to take instruction from a country that has a GDP per capita of like 4 meatballs, if you're lucky.
I know luggage handlers.
I mean,
What about Eswatini
I
Airport?
know. Eswatini, that's high on my list of places to
Actually,
never visit.
Nairobi looks all right there. I guess maybe the climate.
Nairobi was a serious city. I mean, when I was there. But, Khartoum, not so much. And Sudan, not so much.
Bornos looks a little bit Flintstones.
Where's that?
I don't know. It's in Kenya, but these are huts. That's the hut
Uh,
life.
yeah, no, Nairobi is like Denver. It's a mile up. And it was well developed in 1977, and very pleasant, climate wise, and interesting country, then run by a tyrant, Jomo Kenyatta. Um, but you don't have, if you're going to look around, the 80% of the country of the planet that is not that well developed in terms of population, you don't have a lot of examples of places that we ought to emulate. I mean, yes, you do, when you're in these countries, you have to respect local tradition and their laws. But they come to our country, it's like, fuck your law. We're just going to tear up your constitution. And because I'm 26 years old, and I kind of look at what the Clintons have done, and the other people who love Saul Alinsky and Rules for Radicals, I'm just going to, say that life is. I don't think that the system is fair because I'm a genius and I know everything. I'm 26, and so I'm going to just tear up the way America operates. I'm going to promote fraud, deceit, violence against anybody who disagrees with me. I'm going to put the people who are running the country, Trump and others, on notice that you're going to lose the election. I'm so almighty, I can predict the future. Fuck that. I think this Morris Katz ought to get a visit from a U.S. Whoever is the right people to visit him, whether it's the DOJ and or the FBI. I mean, what the hell is up with this guy? Where is he getting his money? Who does he take his instructions from? Is he working with one or more foreign powers?
Yeah.
How did he get to be so influential with this Plattner guy?
At
Who is it?
26. Yeah.
Yeah, something reeks here.
Yeah. Well, the FBI says they're busy now. They're investigating, they're assisting local authorities after Lindsey Graham's death. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe that's okay, but I mean, is there some indication? I mean, if an ambulance goes to your house and you're dead of a heart attack, Senator Lindsey Graham was a devoted public servant. Oh, yeah, this is what Kash Patel wrote on X. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Kash Patel, I think, likes to fuel these strange ideas.
Yeah, and I guess he's pissed. On Friday, he was supposed to go to see his girlfriend in a concert. He was going to investigate. He was going to visit, in theory, the FBI field office in some wherever the concert was. And he got a call from the White House saying, not so fast.
What did they want him to do?
Not go to the. I mean, it's a flimsy. If you want to go in the middle of this conflict in Iran, obviously he's in the chain of command, right?
Yeah.
If you want to go to a concert, save your money, get a ticket like anybody else. You don't need to fly on a fucking FBI private jet to go, pretend that it's important to go to this field office so you can really go to a concert to see your girlfriend.
This is a sock puppet account for Kash Patel. He's like, this is total nonsense. He's just like making these angry tweets from this FBI rapid response Twitter account, pretending it's somebody other than him.
Again, it's just the head of the FBI. I mean, in concept, should be a serious person, but the headquarters building is named after a maniac who kept files that I believe were used to blackmail people for decades, and then after he died, those files mysteriously disappeared.
FBI is a terrible thing, Charles, but let me just hold you right there because we've got to make our way over to the First Amendment Forum. People can join us there by going to crowdsourcethetruth.substack or on subscribestar.com/crowdsourcethetruth or patreon.com/crowdsourcethetruth. And now, Charles, starting just last week, X has updated itself, and people who subscribe to me on X at JG_CSTT can see the sponsor exclusive content live on X. So that's a good step in the right technological direction. We'll be back in less than 5 minutes, everybody. There's a lot more to talk about. I want to show you this Adam Sharp video again because it's very interesting, the stuff that he says. We'll be right back.